What's up, everybody? It's AJ with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be checking out the Rhino Rack ROC25. And what this is a roof rack system for the naked roof of your vehicle. So it's going to be a complete system. You get the bars, the feet, the pads, and the clamps that are specific to your vehicle. Each one's made a little bit different. Each roof is a little bit different. So you want to make sure you get the right fit. This is going to have all of it. You don't have to buy anything extra. Now what the roof rack is going to do for you is help you carry something like, let's say you don't have a hitch on the back of your vehicle like this one. You don't want to get a bike rack. You want to haul your bike on your roof. You can do that. You can get a cargo basket, a roof box. You can carry your skis up here. There's plenty of options to use this roof rack on top of your vehicle. Taking a closer look at it, I just want to show you what I mean by custom design. This rubber pad is what the custom part is for this roof rack. So it's made specifically for this 2019 Nissan Rogue. You can see how the rubber pad goes down into this groove and catches it here, and it's flat. So it goes and conforms to the shape of the roof. And every one of these is going to be different for every vehicle. That's why you get the kit specific to your vehicle. But they're all going to function the same way. They're all going to grip on that roof and catch it. You'll see that there is no overhang with this roof rack system. And that goes with how custom it is to your vehicle. So it's made specifically with the right size bars. And actually on this one, the front bar is longer than the rear bar. You can see that by looking at them. So that's how it's just designed for the roof. The roof tapers in a little bit, and there's pros and cons to that. So one of the pros is you're not going to hit your head when you're getting in and out of the vehicle. Sometimes that overhang can be a little bit of a burden. I know Zach, who does videos here too, complains about sometimes he forgets, he hops out of his vehicle and hits his head. I'm not that tall, so it's not really a problem for me, but this would be eliminated for everybody, so when they get out of the car, it's not a worry. A negative would be there's not as much space. Sometimes that overhang lets you add that one more accessory that you couldn't fit when the bars stop here. But overall, I think it's more of a positive than a negative. You can fit your thing on here just fine and then get out of your car without ever worrying about it hitting your head. While we're up here, we might as well look at the bars themselves. They're made out of an aluminum, it's black coated, it's a black matte finish, sorry. And it's got reinforced on the inside. So it's not just aluminum like a soda can. It's got reinforced, and they said it's like an H design in the middle of it. And that helps, gives it the strength so that it's not going to budge when you load it up with your gear. Now it does have a weight capacity of 165 pounds, so I would not exceed that. On these bars is a weather strip, which covers up the T-track channel. So this is a great option to do those T-track accessories that are going to slide in here and go where the weather strip goes. That way you don't have to use a clamp that's going to go around the whole bar, because as you can see on this vehicle, it comes pretty close to the roof a little bit. They're in the middle, more so on the back. So if you don't want to use those clamp-on accessories, or you just don't have the room to use them, I suggest using the T-track up top, where you can just cut this to length wherever you want. So let's say that your bike rack slides in here. We would just cut this off and the bike rack would take up the space. That way, it's still got the weather strip. It's not going to make noise when you're going on the road. It just slightly makes noise. It's not very loud, but that could still get annoying over time. Now we'll move on to the foot. It's glass reinforced nylon, and it's also UV treated, so you don't have to worry about the sun breaking it down, making it look bad, or even the elements. If you want to leave it on your roof all the time, it's not going to bother. It'll be just fine. That's this foot part, which is going to be separate from the foot down here. This is another plastic part. Same material, and then the rubberized cover that goes on the foot is specific to your vehicle. So, like I said in the beginning, there's a bunch of different kits, and this is the part that's going to be made specifically to fit your roof and the contours that are on it. Along with that custom rubber pad is the clamp. Now these clamps are going to be the same, but they all have a rubberized inside, so you don't have to worry about them scratching the inside of your door jamb or the side of your roof here. That way, if you take them on and off, you don't have to worry about damage over time or anything. It's not going to happen. It'll be fine. Now, it does fit and tighten up to your door jamb, so it pulls this clamp up the more you tighten this bolt down, and that's what keeps it in place. You see, there's no movement whatsoever, so you don't have to worry about anything bad happening when you're going on the road. Now, there is a cover for this, so this isn't exposed all the time. And another cool thing that Rhino Rack included is a lock. They don't all come with locks and locking caps, so it's nice that they have that, and you get 2 keys with it. That way you can keep one in your vehicle and one on your key ring, and then nobody can tamper with your roof rack when it's installed. So I've gone over how great this roof rack is and what it can do for you. How does it install? It's not that bad. You just follow along with me as I do it and you'll see it's pretty easy. The only thing that's different is the foot pads. They may change from roof to roof, But that's the only thing that changes. Assembling it is going to be the exact same. You're going to measure from the same points. Now the numbers might be different because your roof and your vehicle are going to be different, but still the same. So let's check it out. We're going to install our weather strip. I've already done it on this bar and most of this bar, but I wanted to show you how it works. You just put this part that's a little bit more in than the top. Just work it into the center. It'll pop into place. It's probably better to get one side down, see how it's tilted, and then push in is usually how I do it. And then it goes into place pretty easily after that. You just got to get it started. You can hear a little pop every time I push it into place. And come back on the other side and do the same thing. Looks like it's sitting nice and flat. I'm going to pull it back a little bit so it's even. That looks pretty good right there. Now I'm just going to cut off the excess. I'm going to use my flat side of this. That way you got a nice even cut. So not as even as I anticipated, but I'll come back and fix it up. Now we're going to attach our feet to our crossbars. You just slide them in. The ends here, we're going to eventually put a screw in through there. Now it might fight you a little bit. I suggest I'm going to try good like this. Kind of use the table to push it down in that last spot because this plastic kind of sticks out a little bit and you put your palm on there, it doesn't exactly feel good, so you can't get a good shove on it. But if you just use the ground and push a little bit, it should slide right into place. Don't slam it on there or anything like that, you'll damage it, but just use that to help push it into place. Now we're going to peel back a little bit of the weather stripping. You see, it looks like the hole lines up just fine, so we're going to add a screw in there. With that in place, now you can't pop that foot back off, and we're going to repeat that process on the other three sides. Next, we're going to assemble our foot pads. You're going to get these in a different kit, and you want to make sure you look at them, and you see the number here. It's going to tell you where they go. So this is the front left and front right. Stickers do come with them. I've already added the stickers, so it's easier to explain to you which one's which, but you can look at the number, and it'll tell you exactly where it's supposed to go. And these are going to be the rear ones. So you can see they already look way different than the front ones. They're specific to your vehicle. And again, just look at the number and it'll tell you where to put them. When you go to add your rubber pad, make sure the arrow is facing out. When you go to snap into place, you kind of just push on the rubber part and you'll feel it snap in several parts right into place. A good way to tell is if the rubber part of the cover is up here through the center hole, you know that it's installed. We're going to attach it to our assembly. It just pops into place. There's like a bar here at the bottom. There's spaces to clip this plastic part into. You just push it, you hear it snap into place, and it's on there. And again, you want to look at the bottom, make sure you're putting the right one on the right side. Arrow is facing outward, and the arrow on the rubber is facing forward. And one other thing to note is that your crossbars are going to be different lengths. So the front one is going to be longer than the rear one. That's how you can tell the difference between them. You might be able to see on the table here that this front one is a little bit longer, and that's how I know that that one's the front one. I set the front crossbar on the roof already, and what we're going to do is get our measurement to see where it needs to be on the roof. Now it's going to be different for every vehicle, so these measurements probably aren't for you, but we go from the center of the door jamb to this arrow, and on this particular one it's going to be a little bit before 6 inches. So about there looks right on this side, and I'm going to go over the other side and adjust it over there too. Now if we set the rear one on, we'll get that measurement too. Again, it's going to be different for you, but what they want you to do is measure from the center of the front crossbar, now that you've got that in the spot it's supposed to be, to the center of this one, and those measurements will be in your instructions. And ours looks to be right there. I'm going to move it just a little bit, and it looks good right there. That's where they said to have it, so now we know it's on there right. Another thing that'll be helpful is they got these little stickers that are arrows, and you can put them exactly where your crossbars are in like the door jamb so you can't see them. But that way you don't have to measure every time if you plan on taking these off and putting them back on. If you plan on leaving them on, you're probably not going to need these. If you don't want to put them on the cart, you don't have to. Just measure again the next time. Not a big deal. It's really up to you. Now we're ready to add our clamp. This is going to attach here, and this is what actually holds the roof rack to your roof. So first we're going to remove this center bolt. Then we'll bring our clamp up, line it up. You see how it sits right here in the door jamb like it's supposed to. It's also rubberized, so you don't have to worry about scratching anything. Kind of align that up right. Put our bolt through and get it started by hand. Now you might have to hold it, put your hand behind there to hold this up because it falls back pretty easily. You see that? So you can put one hand back there and then get the bolt started that way. It looks like the trick might have been is to tilt it towards you. That way it's at an angle and then the bolt went in way easier. Because I got the clamp sitting in the door frame where it's supposed to be. And I'm slowly tightening it into place. I'll come back with the tool that comes with it and continue to tighten it down. On the passenger side, we do the same thing, but don't fully tighten it. Just kind of jump back and forth and tighten it evenly. That way one side doesn't pull it up off the roof. Now, something I want to point out about the tool, a good way of seeing if it's tight enough. You're going to hear some creaks and cracks and stuff as you go, but this part is angled, and you'll know when it's tight, and you go to tighten it. As you push on it, it flattens out. So I'll try and do it this way. You see how it's flat now? That means it's tight enough and that you can stop tightening it. Last thing we got to do is just put our covers on. You just slide them into the grooves. Pushes in there really easily. Then use one of your two keys to lock it in place. Now you're good to go. As you saw, it wasn't too bad to get installed. Some roof racks can be a little complicated with a bunch of moving parts and a lot of going back and forth. That was probably the hardest part of this one, is probably the measurements. And that's just, setting this one in place, measuring, going to the other side, doing the same thing, then doing the same thing for the rear bar. But really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal. They installed pretty easily. They're on there nice and tight. They're not going anywhere. I'm fully confident that they're going to stay there for as long as I need them to be. So now you can carry a roof box, a roof basket. You can even carry your bikes up there, skis, whatever. You have all those options with those bars on your vehicle. Well, thanks for hanging out, and I hope this helped.